Welcome back to the Vegans Who Live podcast with your favorite vegan hosts. We have Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle, and myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan. What's up, Brooke?
What's up?
I'm excited for today. We're going to talk a lot about stress and management for that, cortisol, all these things that the people need to know. But before that, let's catch up. It's been a minute. It's been probably like a day since we've spoken. Maybe, well, we spoke earlier today, but you know what I mean. I was like, we had the academy yesterday. I was like, no, we have the academy this evening.
Yes.
Today it's been a week. It's been a week. Speaking of, what would your win of the week be for this week?
My win this week, I made some pretty mean protein jalapeno cornbread. That's going to be my win for the week. It turned out really, really good. I got to post the recipe. I had to make a couple batches before I absolutely perfected it, but then I pretty much got it now. So I got to put it out there for the people.
That sounds yummy. What is the protein? Is it from what?
Vital wheat gluten.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might make some tonight.
And chickpea flour. So I just kind of tried to mess around with a non-vegan recipe and see if I could like finagle it. And like I said, like the first time, like it was edible, it was good, but like you could tell it wasn't cornbread. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to mess around with the texture a little bit, but yeah, really, really good.
Okay. Hell yeah. Speaking of bread, was it you that told me about Primal Bakery?
Oh, yes. I put that in our Academy group chat.
Yeah, I got some. It's pretty good. I like it.
I was very impressed with it. Yeah.
I've had the bread a few times. It's really good to I make like garlic bread with it. So I have like garlic protein bread. Or they have their crackers. And I also went to Credo Foods. Have you heard of them? They got this like vegan cheese whiz, like cheese in a can, like cheese. Well, anyways, I put the cheese on the crackers like I'm a 6-year-old kid, and I had fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an oat milk cheese in a can. It's
interesting. Yeah, I love the crackers. I just can't be trusted with them. So like I have to basically hide them because I'm definitely like a one bag girl on those crackers. But yeah, I was very impressed when they sent me their products. And it's great because like if you want to make a sandwich, like even if like the contents of the sandwich like aren't very high in protein, you can add the protein with the bread, which is great. So like avocado toast, like I never eat avocado toast because it's like there's no protein, which sounds silly, but truthfully, it's like I'd just rather have something else. But that is like the perfect solution.
Yeah, and they have wraps too. So I want to make some wraps. I haven't done that yet, but
y'all
check them out. Primal Foods, and then if you want the oat cheese in a can, Credo. My win of the week. Well, I had a few, and now I'm brain farting. I guess that's a phrase. I do have this, my newest tattoo. It says
nice.
222. Kind of took a leap of faith here. I got Allie's handwriting on me. We hit 6 months. So that might as well be an eternity. Probably people out there like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I would agree. I've thought the same about other people that have gotten people's names and stuff tattooed on them. But Brooke, I already have your handwriting. I have my best friend. I can't speak. Alyssa's handwriting. So I thought about getting this from Allie's handwriting because she was the messenger for this message of 222. For me, it means presence, it means balance, and it means faith more so in trusting the process and that things will work out the way they're meant to be, even if I can't see them at the moment. So just like everything else on my arms and forearms, it's a reminder of what I do, and I think it will come in handy. I haven't needed it yet, but like there have been times where I'm not having the best day ever, and I look at my arm and it says have the best day ever. I'm like, okay, Time to change. So I think for this, it'll kind of give me a little reminder to keep being more present and balanced and having that faith that things are going to work out. So that's my win of the week. Got it from a vegan tattoo artist in Orlando. We went to Disney World. Oh shit. Yeah, that could be the win of the week too.
That would definitely be the win of the week. I don't even know why that didn't come to mind first.
I don't know. The tattoo's bigger to me, but yeah, I mean, Disney was fun. I honestly told Allie, I said, let's come back in 20 years because it's been 20 years since I've been. I think like Universal is more of my speed and style.
Yeah.
But I also think it's because I have all these nostalgic memories of going there with my dad. So I think that's really where I didn't have a ton of childhood memories at Disney, and most of the stuff I saw was new. So it's kind of a first time thing for me, but
it's definitely more for little kids. Like it's like we're gonna take my nieces there later this year because like they're little kids and they love it. But like if I didn't have them, I would 100% be going to Universal. The rides, it's just more for adults, and like it's kind of the cool classic movies, but yeah, Disney's fun. I do think you kind of have to have that like nostalgia for Disney once you're an adult. But there's like people who are like Disney crazy as adults, you know.
I saw a few.
I'm not like that.
Yeah. It was good. The Indiana Jones thing was fun. We did. I was actually impressed by the Muppets 3D show. I mean, basically, we did anything that didn't have lines, and then we had the fast passes. I did like the Tower of Terror. That was fun. My dad was huge into the Twilight Zone, so I didn't know that was based around that.
That's a classic. The Rock and Roller Coaster. Please tell me you did that one.
I told Allie, I'm like, look, dude, I don't do roller coasters. I don't. Because like I did one in 2017 and gave me the worst migraine for the entire rest of the day. That day I didn't ride I didn't do anything useful from like 11 a.m. when I went on that ride until I woke up the next day. And she's like, we're gonna try it if you're willing, and we're gonna go into this with the mindset that it's gonna be okay. And I was like, oh, I hate you and I love you so much at the same time. So I was like, all right, let's do it at like 5 or 6 just in case something happens and I'm screwed the rest of the day and you just got to drive me home. And she's like, all right. I'm like, okay. And what I did, I think the biggest thing is like, but even back in 2017, I was probably like 215 pounds and now I'm like 250. So I'm a lot bigger. And I think what happened was somewhere along that growing, the jostling in my head plus the blood pressure of like clinching on the ride would just give me these horrible migraines. And it happened a few times. And then like I pieced it together. It's probably the roller coasters because that makes sense. But I was like using breath work and like not clenching and just letting it happen. And that sounds almost like something else, but it was all right. Like I had a mild, like the most mild, like little bit of movement from my head going around, but like I was okay. And I was like, ooh, I might be able to be a kid again and go on more roller coasters. So I think we need to do like a Vegans Explore trip to Universal sometime soon. Go on some rides.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because their roller coasters are no joke. I'm a big roller coaster girl. Like I will ride just about anything. Like nothing really gives me issues. I never get motion sick. Like I'm like all for it. I'll do like the craziest ride. But the Velocicoaster at Universal, oh my God, it is intense. It is the most intense ride I've ever ridden. Like their coasters are no joke. Like it's insane.
Is that based off of like Jurassic Park?
Yeah, so it's like the most recent, like the Jurassic World, like all the velociraptors. Yeah, so it's like I mean, it does have like animatronics and stuff throughout it. So like, you know, it'll slow down and you'll see like these velociraptors, but it's a full on like roller coaster. It is intense, like the G-forces and all that. Like, yeah, like I was like, if this is awesome, we're gonna ride it again. But like, it was really intense. I was like, I don't think I could handle it again. To be honest, it was crazy, but fun. It is fun.
I'll try. I'll try anything once. But yeah, I haven't been there in forever either. I used to like the water one, the water Jurassic Park ride.
Oh yeah, it's a classic. Yeah.
Classic for me. Okay, anyways, I know we're on, thanks to me, a little bit of a time crunch here, but yeah, there were the ton of actual food at Disney too. That was the cool thing. Tons of vegan food specifically. That I thought was really cool, and they all the menus had a little V. However, some things didn't have the V that would make sense, like the they had like yuca fries, but they weren't vegan because they're made of the same oil. So you just got to keep an eye out, but mostly good stuff. But anyways, a little bit of stress relief. I kind of took the day off work, and that brings us wonderfully into today's topic, which is stress, cortisol, and how it happens in our body, both from a mental and physical state. And what can you guys do to make yourselves a little less stressed out? Take a chill pill. You had suggested this topic, so I will let you run it first, Brooke.
Yeah, I felt like this would be a really good topic for people because I think so many people underestimate stress when it comes to like their fitness goals. You know, a lot of time people, I see it with my clients sometimes, you know, like they seem to be doing mostly everything right. But their stress is really keeping them from achieving their goals. And a lot of times people who have issues with food and like sticking to their diet and sticking to their workouts and their healthy routines, almost always it's because of their stress response and how they're coping with stress. It's like most of our issues with food are really coming from our emotions. So like learning how to navigate that, because we all just have stressful lives. I feel like it's just part of the world, you know, now, like with just politics and the news and just, you know, where most people are overworked and people have kids and families, like everybody's stressed out. And there's all things that we could do. And this has really been important for me lately because I've really taken accountability for my own stress and how it impacts my health and my life. So yeah, I thought it would be helpful for people to really understand like the true impact of it and how to cope with it.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's hugely valuable, both for like our own personal journeys, but then also for helping our clients. I have one guy that's getting ready to compete. Shout out Javier. And he's cool as a cucumber. Like no matter what's going on around him, he's always been chill, like happy, dancing in between sets. I'm like, you're 3 weeks out. How do you have energy to dance in between sets? I don't know if it's that he has the energy. It's just that's him. That's his personality, and he's pretty much ready to walk on stage today. And that's awesome because there's nothing mentally holding him back. And I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves. They wake up and they see a number on the scale, or they don't like how they look in the mirror, or they worry about something that's coming up. And like it's crazy that mental stress that we put on ourselves can manifest into physical stress that like is actually visually able to be seen by someone like a coach. So yeah, it's interesting how the mental side can be so big in this and something like a physical sport like bodybuilding.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like, even if you do just, like, especially in bodybuilding, I feel like, that's really when that's actually really when I learned the impact of stress and cortisol because, you know, everybody tells you, you know, all these different things you should do peak week, like stay off social media and, you know, like, keep stress low. And, you know, people always say that when you're going into a prep, like you need to make sure you have a stable, like support system and home environment. And I remember just always being like, well, why? Like, what difference does that make? And like, of course, it's like, well, you could hold water. So that's like aesthetically, like in a prep, what we worry about. But yeah, like long-term implications, chronic stress can lead to even more health issues. Like you said, it manifests physically in like, you know, maybe an anxiety disorder or a GI disorder, like all of these different things. There's so many health issues that are related to stress and our stress response. And like you said, like your client, we all have different stress responses. You know, we all have different responses, like cortisol responses. Like, yeah, your client kind of reminds me of Sean. Like Sean is like the most easygoing person ever. Like I know he probably does get stressed sometimes, but like it's just his mentality. He's just so like, you know, just collected and like clean and like calm. Like he's just like very confident. And, you know, some people may not be that way. And I feel like it's about learning those coping strategies. Like, honestly, we should be doing this instead of like taking freaking algebra and shit. You know, we should be taking classes on how to cope with stress because I feel like so many people need it. And like, we're not always taught that by our parents.
Yeah. And sometimes our parents teach us the wrong directions with stress.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I do drugs and alcohol, and you can cope with your stress that way
And
too.
eat my feelings. Yeah. Like my parents, totally emotional eaters. So that's where I got mine from. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, how can we let's try to narrow, because I feel like we got like 15 different topics we could hit here. Let's
Yeah. Let's
talk. I don't know.
so
Let's
maybe
pick
just start
one.
with some behavioral stuff, and then we also briefly wanted to talk about supplements. We can maybe do that at the end.
I'll talk about me real quick. I think the biggest thing I've found recently for stress control is, and I might get this tattooed on my arm. I'm not even joking. Like I literally have my arms to help me remind things that I forget. See, I don't know what they would do back in algebra, but I could probably get like AX plus BY equals C whatever cubed. I don't even remember it, but like, what if you got those algebra formulas tattooed on your arm before the test? Like, could they make you not? Anyways, all right. I agree with you so much. Like, algebra has been basically useless for me. But for me, breathing, like something like just breathe. I might get that tattooed on me because it's been better now, but like right up around when I met Allie, so about 6 months ago, my workload was so high, and I don't think it's decreased at all, to be honest, but my approach to it is a lot better. Sometimes I would get into these frenzies where I literally have 30 tabs open in front of me and 2 screens, and I have 2 phones unlocked sitting. So I'm even right now, just on this podcast, I got 4 screens looking at me. But when I start to get overwhelmed, instead of like doubling down on it and like gritting my teeth and just working through it, I will just close my eyes for a second and like take a deep breath. And what I realized is whatever mentally is stressing me, it'll start to stress out my body. And the way to get through that is just take a deep breath. Or conversely, like the other day, I got an ab cramp because I tried to beat Allie in a plank challenge, and I lost really bad to the point of getting a cramp, and I was freaking out in my head because it was really hurting. I was like, all right, let's just breathe. And the same thing with the roller coaster, just breathe. So our breath alone, that's my first tip, is like focus on your breath. Let that bring you back into the present moment. Whatever seems overwhelming in front of you, it's fucking there. It's going to be there, and it'll go away eventually. Whatever you're going through, as my dad used to say, this too shall pass. But I think the first step is recentering yourself and getting that breath. So that's going to be my thing for just a practical application. Just breathe.
I love that. I love breath work because I have a really hard time meditating. So I know everybody loves meditating. They swear by it. I just really have a hard time doing it. And my issue is I've done a lot of self-reflection, and I feel like I don't like meditation because I get frustrated that I can't do it perfectly because I'm a perfectionist, and I like all these thoughts come in and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be thinking. And then I get frustrated. So like it just totally ruins the whole point of meditation. And I know they say you'll get better at it, but it's just like, I don't know. So I've really liked breath work because I can focus on something. So like I don't know. It just like I don't have to like really focus on my thoughts so much and controlling my thoughts. I can just focus my thoughts on something, which is really helpful rather than just like creating kind of like this blank, flat line in my brain. That's kind of how I feel like meditating is supposed to be. Like you're not supposed to really be thinking about too much, but with breath work, I can focus on something. And so I really have found that to be helpful for me. And I love the Wim Hof breathing. It's kind of weird when you go through it, but it's really crazy how you feel after. If you haven't tried it, I would look it up. There's a free walkthrough on YouTube, Wim Hof, WIMHOF. He's like this, I don't know. It's like, he's kind of like an adventurer, but he's also like, I don't know. He does a lot of philosophy kind of stuff, and he's come up with all these different techniques, and he does ice plunges and stuff. And it's like scientifically proven to like kind of actually get you to a more calm state to relax your brain, and you'll feel it. Like you'll feel it after you do it. It's really cool. So yeah, I totally am with you on the breath work.
How long is that video?
It's only 10 minutes.
Yeah, I need content for YouTube anyways. I should just record myself going through it and then get my feedback after. That's cool. Wim Hof. Y'all check that out. I need to check that out. Brooke, I love this podcast. I learned so much from you.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Yeah, look him up. He's got some good stuff out there.
Cool. Continuing to stay focused as possible. So a lot of people hear about like cortisol spikes, needing to control or avoid cortisol. What are your thoughts there? And then do you do anything directly to help with cortisol yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a lot of experience with cortisol issues. I had adrenal fatigue, stage 3 adrenal fatigue, not adrenal failure. That's kind of a myth, basically. Yeah, like you're dead if you have adrenal failure, because cortisol is important. Like that's I had to explain that to my clients on one of our group calls, is that cortisol is actually important for our body, for our immune system, for our circadian rhythm, for all sorts of different things. Inflammation. You can't get rid of inflammation without cortisol. So it's a really, really important hormone. However, it is a catabolic hormone, and the only catabolic hormone, which means it does break down tissue. So that's when you start running into trouble, is when your cortisol is too high. And then you can get a ton of different symptoms like fatigue, hair loss, weight gain, all sorts of different issues. But yeah, you do need some cortisol. It's kind of like estrogen, right? Like you don't want too high estrogen, you don't want too low estrogen. You just want everything to be balanced. And the best way to have your cortisol checked would be with a saliva test, which is how I checked for my adrenal issues, because blood is good, but typically it's going to read a little bit lower on a blood panel than in the saliva test. And the saliva test actually really cheap. I think it was only $90. That's how I did mine. But I know for me, and we talked about this off air, is when I was going through like my adrenal health protocol, I totally cut out caffeine. And we talked about not having coffee first thing in the morning, because that's kind of like a double whammy, because your cortisol actually fluctuates during the day. It's the highest in the morning, just naturally, just to kind of wake you up and get you moving. It's just like an evolutionary response. And then you add coffee and you don't have any food, and it's like, it's just stressing your body out even more, because caffeine is a stimulant. So in that period, I cut out caffeine completely. And that could definitely be something that people could try if they want to do that. Or I'm trying to think of other things I do. So if I do have coffee now, I always have a full glass of water, like probably 30. I probably drink 30 ounces of water literally every day. As soon as I wake up, it kind of helps me get ahead on my gallon. That's why I started doing that. And, and then I'll eat something, and then I'll have my coffee with my breakfast. And that helps kind of with that cortisol spike. And I always eat breakfast. I never skip breakfast. That's a big one too. A lot of people, like I know so many women who won't eat until like 1, 2 p.m. And, they have a lot of issues with their health and fitness, but it makes sense. And that's also stressing out your body and raising cortisol as well.
Yeah. So I think we've hit on a few notes here. First of all, yes, drink your water when you wake up, because that's going to be the time of day that you're most dehydrated. A lot of people ask me, is it optimal if I train first thing in the morning? Like, can I train fasted first thing in the morning? And I truly don't believe from a muscle building perspective it's optimal, but if that's the only time you got, you can go. And they're like, well, what could I eat? Should I eat a snack? And it's like, maybe if you have time, but you need to drink water. There's no negotiable there. Like, get your water in before you train. Otherwise, you're going to be training dehydrated, more likely to get injured, not going to be able to put up the same numbers. And then you hit exactly what I was going to delve into is the timing of your coffee in the morning. Like, a lot of people, myself for years, that would be the first thing I do, is get up, have some coffee. And I've now changed that. I typically, like my morning routine right now, just to give an idea of how you could set up your days, I'll get up, I will go get my supplements and stuff ready. Like, I have like kind of like 15 minutes of like take care of myself, random stuff, go to the bathroom. Then I will start brewing the coffee while I go do my little ab and mobility work. It takes me about 15 minutes. Then I'll go do my 25, 30 minutes of cardio. Then I'll come back and change, and then I'll have coffee. Now, I still haven't had breakfast. That's how I do it. I am a guy, though. And so this is something that's a little bit different. I've given at least an hour before I have any caffeine. And I think that that's worked a lot better for me, because what I've read and seen and tried is that your body naturally releases cortisol in the morning to wake you up. It's going to happen no matter what. Like, it's a good thing. We want that. Like Brooke said, if your body makes it naturally, it's probably important to have, but just in the right amounts. And so if you give at least that hour, that'd be my recommendation. But for women, I have seen with my clients that we need to be more careful with how we manage cortisol. It seems that women are just more susceptible to this hormone than men. So it is good for women to get up and have some food before doing their cardio, if at all possible. Everybody's a little bit different, but from the majority of what I've seen, I'll be honest, I'm a coach and I do my best. And for a long time there, I treated my women a lot of the same ways as I treated my men. I would have them do fasted morning cardio, especially my competitors. Like, you want to compete? That's what you got to do. I'm realizing for women, it just doesn't work as well, because then they have that initial bit of cortisol spike when they wake up. Then they're getting another cortisol spike from the cardio, and then maybe another one from the caffeine. So they're getting like whammied instead of being a little bit more thoughtful with the order of which we do our daily tasks. So I just said a lot, but that's something that I've recently been changing, both for myself and for my clients, and it's been working.
Yeah, it's not just your observation and your experience. Like, it's been shown through data and research that women are in fact more susceptible to cortisol than men. And that's why it's really important for women to make sure that they have the right training and exercise regimen and nutrition as well, because you could definitely do some damage to your body. Men are pretty resilient when it comes to stress and overtraining and undereating. Like, men are much more resilient than women. So it's like you really have to be careful with what advice you're following. Like, just because somebody's like, promoting intermittent fasting online and telling you to drink black coffee all day, and like, it doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. And I think it's women are like 8 times more likely to have a thyroid issue, which is also related to stress and cortisol. They are like 3 times more likely to have an autoimmune condition, which is also related to stress and adrenal issues. So yeah, it's no joke. So, I mean, definitely your experience it's just a fact. Yeah.
I think it's worth noting too, just kind of building off of that, is how we have our women program their cardio. Because obviously I just said the fasted cardio is not as good, but the higher intensity, at least like longer, moderate to high intensity cardio, just does not seem to work as well for women. Like, we shouldn't be putting a woman on the stair climber for 45 minutes. Not that she can't, not that women aren't capable and strong, but they should probably be using that 45 minutes to be lifting to build muscle. But when we need to use cardio as a tool to burn more calories, it's better to do that low intensity. So Brooke, I know you've both been a proponent of and a personal doer of a lot of steps. So I think steps, or maybe like a lower incline treadmill, those would be good options for burning calories, as opposed to doing like lots of HIIT intervals or lots of stair climbing, or even, I don't really ever have any of my clients do running, unless they enjoy it. But yeah, it's just like those other, like, with women, we have to be mindful of the total load we place on them, the total intense load. And so we don't necessarily want them lifting 5 days a week and then trying to do stairs 5 days a week on top of that, is basically what I'm getting at.
100%. And what's so funny is I was doing all of those things when I had my adrenal issues. I was both of my preps, and they were both about 20-week preps. So I was, in prep for 40 weeks. So for almost a year, I was doing Stairmaster 6 days a week for an hour on level 12 to 13. And I was doing that fasted in the morning. I had to take caffeine pills my coach gave me. And just like all sorts of, I just absolutely barbecued my adrenals, and that's why I had such high cortisol. And yeah, I mean, I recovered from it. It's fine. But like, yeah, I didn't know those things. I didn't realize that you could, like, when I thought about like disrupting your hormones, I'm thinking like you'd have to take some sort of medication or like, it just, I don't know, have something terrible happen to you. But your lifestyle will impact your hormones. And, so it's a big deal. You need to make sure that you're doing the right things for your body.
Yeah. Interesting too, because like I'm now coaching Allie, which is a interesting dynamic to coach your significant other. I have to pretend that she's just a regular client, and I have her just pretend that I'm a regular coach. Like anything personal, we don't talk about on WhatsApp. We just keep that strictly coaching. But she was questioning, like, hey, I've heard sprinting burns the most calories. It's the best for fat loss. Why am I not doing? Why didn't you have me do sprints? And I'm like, well, you're already in the gym 5 days a week. Do you want to give up one of those days and have a sprint day? And she's like, no, I want to lift. And I'm like, okay, well then again, like the total amount that we're outputting, there is a limit to that as far as fat loss. Like you'd be better off still lifting 5 days a week. And then you could do a maybe slightly longer walking session or something like that to burn those calories instead of doing the sprinting on top. Because yes, in a vacuum, maybe in a week or two you burn more fat, but then like Brooke, you experience that adrenal fatigue will build up, cortisol will build up, and then you'll either burn off muscle or your body just won't want to give up the fat and it'll just regulate your metabolism. So yeah, you got to be careful with how you have your training set up. If you don't know how to do it, hire one of these wonderful coaches here. We'll take good care of you. What about on the supplement side? Are there supplements that people can take to help with cortisol? Anything like that you've done or that you recommend?
Yeah, when I was going through my protocol, of course, adaptogens, all the mushrooms, those are all great, and you can usually buy them in like kind of like a combination. Like you don't need to buy them all separately. Maca root, I took maca root, and that one did improve my labs quite a bit. And ashwagandha is also like clinically shown to improve cortisol. So those are a few.
KSM 66 ashwagandha is like the highest quality and potency that I've read about. The caveat ashwagandha that I'll throw out there is long-term use, and I might not say this right, can lead to adonhesia, which is basically, if I'm saying it correctly, I might not be saying it correctly. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but what I've read is that if you use it for too much for too long, it can basically dull your emotions. You won't be like super happy. You won't be super sad. You'll kind of just be this neutral person. So I usually do plan that into my competitors, either leading up to the show or right after. So their stress will be pretty high leading into the show and then even right after it. And that's a way that we can run ashwagandha for about 8 weeks. And then I'll have them cycle off of it and take at least 8 weeks off. And usually by then they're not in a super high stress situation. But that is definitely something, if you feel like you're burned out, if you feel like you're facing adrenal fatigue, throw in ashwagandha. And I guess maca as well. I didn't know that. I knew about like sexual health benefits and mood benefits of maca, but very cool to know that it helps with cortisol as well. I don't even know the direct answer to this. What about sleep? Does sleep play into? I assume like chronic fatigue would also raise cortisol.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of like it's like they're both directly related to each other in that if sleep sucks, it can raise cortisol, and if cortisol's high and out of whack, but maybe your sleep's still okay, eventually that's going to play a role in your sleep. So yeah, definitely they totally influence each other and in each way, each direction.
That makes sense. I usually have people use magnesium. I think we covered this in the supplement one.
Magnesium. Yeah.
About an hour before bed, and that can help promote relaxation. I don't know if it directly helps with cortisol, but if it helps you get better sleep, it'll help with cortisol. So, anything else supplement wise?
Supplements. Those were my big ones, and those are the ones I definitely have read research on and like I know. But I know there's a lot of stuff out there. But those are the ones that I've tried.
All right. Any other things we got for stress?
I would say maybe lastly, I think also you sometimes just got to own your own shit too. Like if you know you're in a relationship that's causing stress and it's toxic and you know you've given your all and it's just still not going anywhere, like it's time to make a change. Like I think sometimes we can be kind of an enabler for ourselves and our own stress. And even with jobs, like you can always change jobs. Like I've had clients who have changed jobs just because it's so stressful. You know, and it may not be overnight, but to just start the process, like don't stay stuck in a situation that is going to just continuously stress you out. Like that's no way to live. And eventually, like you said earlier, I couldn't say it better. Like it's going to eventually physically manifest, and maybe in the way you look, maybe that's not so important. But then when you are dealing with health issues and chronic fatigue and sleep issues, which then lead to chronic illness, it's not going to be worth that job or that relationship or whatever it is that you're staying in. So, I mean, yes, there are things that we can do, but like if you're staying in a situation, it doesn't matter how much maca root you take or, you know, how much sleep you get, or if you never do a HIIT workout, like you've got to get yourself to a healthy, safe space where you can be in a calm state.
You just read my mind, dude. That was everything I was thinking. Like, relationship doesn't mean boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It means parents. It means siblings. Yes. Shit, I bet it could even mean kids. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if you have a truly toxic person in your life, and that doesn't mean they're a bad person. There's plenty of great people that are toxic. There's plenty of really kind people that are toxic, but you can't fix anybody else's shit for them. All you can do is either suffer with them needlessly or find another spot to be in. And if you got to get a divorce, if you got to get a new job, if you got to get a new boss, if you got to walk away from friends or family, like you got to do what's best for you. You really, really, really do. So like Brooke said, I was thinking the same thing. You can take all the supplements you want. You can do all the breath work and Zen and everything. But if you're around a person that's constantly bringing you down, it's time to walk. And it's not easy. I'm not downplaying it. I'm not saying it's easy. Those are some of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my own life, but they're also some of the best. So yeah, you got to protect your space, protect your energy. Try to be really honest with where those leaks are and see what you can do. Sometimes it's your perception. Like for me, there's certain accounts that I don't follow as closely on Facebook or Instagram. Like I still want to be friends with these people, but maybe they're just always posting negative things or complaining. Actually, I complain a good bit every now and then. I'll be like, oh my God, can you believe real life story. Can you believe I worked at the jail? And so my license plate wasn't tied to the DMV anymore because like a secrecy thing. So basically if somebody saw my license plate, they couldn't go look me up and stalk me. So I've been getting tolls the last 2 years that I didn't know about. I got to call the Tampa toll, the Orlando toll, and then I got to call the toll collection agency that they forwarded me to. As of this morning, I've paid back all my tolls, state of Florida.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, like I'll complain and joke about things like that. But yeah, Sean said we were just talking about this. We were. I literally was like, yeah, you can take the toll away. Like they never bill me. It's been 2 years. I've never gotten a bill. Turns out they've been billing me. They've been sending me to collections. I didn't even know. But I'll complain about it, but it won't like bring my whole day down. But like some people are just so everything. The world is always against them. The line was too long. Their car broke down again. Their dog ran away for the 8th time. Somebody called them a name. The world never goes their way. They knew this was going to, and it's like back to the tattoo, like the 222 for me. It's what I look for. I look for 222 on the clock. I look for good people. I find that. But some of these people are stuck in they're not bad people, but they're stuck in this negativity and they're looking for bad things. And for me, that's contagious. If I'm around somebody like that, I start to feel like that. So I really have to protect myself, and to keep my own stress levels down, I systematically remove those people from my life. I love them, but I love them from a distance. If they can get their shit together, we can go be friends again. But like, if every time you call me, it's to complain or say how bad things are, man, we got to find you different glasses. You got to find something positive to look at. So, yeah, I think I'm not trying to downplay what anybody's going through, but that's how I protect myself and how I bring the best version of myself forward is by policing a little bit, even on Instagram, whoever I follow or, you know, That's yeah.
Yeah. And you know when you've known someone long enough, if it's a pattern, if it's a character trait, or if they're just going through a hard time. And once you start to figure out like this is just how this person is and they're relying on me to be their emotional support dog, like I can't, that nobody needs that. So yeah, definitely. You just have to protect your space and choose your people wisely.
Yeah. And that's why I'm friends with you. Like we have our fair share of complaining at times and checking things, but at the end of the day, we're both high achievers and we both put aside the shit that we're going through at times to stay positive and find a silver lining. And
we do, and we joke about stuff. Like a lot of times when we complain, like we just like kind of laugh about it, like just crazy shit we deal with coaching and stuff like that. And that's how you got to do it. Like you can't take life too seriously. Like you just have to joke about it sometimes and move on.
All right. Stress. Just breathe, take some supplements, change your life. I'm not trying to downplay it. But I think it's all cumulative. It's how are you doing with your supplements? How are you doing with your breathing? How are you doing with your training? How are you with your home life? And it can be a vicious cycle or a positive cycle, depending upon which way those are flowing. Often one will go into the next.
Yeah. Good tips.
All right. Good tips. Y'all put this into action. Help us out so that we're not stressed. Share this podcast on every platform to your mom, to your best friend, to literally everybody, and help us grow. That'll make me less stressed. Anything else, dude?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Hopefully this helps some people.
I think so. There's a lot of good nuggets in here. All right, y'all. Do you want me to sign us off? Do you want to sign us off?
You can take us off.
All right, I'll take us off. All right, guys. Another episode of the Vegans Who Live podcast. Make sure you are following both me and Brooke, sharing this podcast everywhere you go. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be here next week and every week for eternity, unstressed. All right. See y'all next time.